Of course, my name is Elton Roby, and of course, we are also live on X Spaces, on YouTube, and of course, on Facebook. Your comments are welcome via all our social media handles. And today, we've got the very latest on every matter happening in the country today. The MPP is this afternoon strongly demanding that the Inspector General of Police, Christian Teto Yohuno, immediately arrest the National Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Chief Sofo Azoka, and one Abdul Wahab for allegedly threatening the lives of some MPP officials, including the minority leader. Tensions flared in the Akwatia constituency on Tuesday, September 2nd by-election after Chief Sofo Azoka clashed with the minority leader Alexander Afenyomarkin and his delegation. Now, in a statement released moments ago, the MPP is condemning the act and called on the IGP to arrest the duo. And this is the statement that just came through. And the party says they are condemning it. They condemn the threats of death against the minority leader, Osahin Alexander Afenyomarkin, the national organizer Henry Nabuache, and Honorable Frank Ganodompre, by the first national vice chair of the NDC, Chief Sofo Azoka, and one Alhaji Abdul Wahab Amadou, the Buakwa North Constituency Communication Officer of the NDC. And there are videos buttressing this point. The party is further condemning the unprovoked physical attack of its third national vice chairman, Alhaji Osman Mazawudu, by the same Chief Sofo Azoka and his notorious hoodlums. Now, they say that such violent conduct by no means a person than the national officer of the governing NDC and the constituency officer diminish the gains of our democracy and has potential to create further insecurity in the country in the face of Ghana's recent decline in the Global Peace Index. And the party says they will formally lodge complaints with the police against the mentioned individuals, and they are demanding that the IGP act on this particular matter, arrest and investigate Chief Sofo Azoka and Alhaji Abdul Wahab and any other person captured in the video widely circulated on social media. And this statement is signed by Justin Kodia Frimpong, General Secretary of the NPP. Now, we'll speak to the party on this shortly, but first, the MPP is blaming the loss of the Akwatia parliamentary seat in yesterday's parliamentary by-election on what they described as the NDC's deceitful promises to the constituents. The government, in less than 48 hours to the election, undertook a number of activities, including a skill development program recruitment, the commissioning of a DVLA office, and a road construction project in Bodria on the day of the election. We'll hear from the MPP on why they believe these are reasons they lost the election. But shortly, here is though it's a wrap of activities of yesterday.
Solomon Asumedu had 15,235 votes. Bernard Baidoo of NDC had 18,199. I, Eric Osujenfi, the returning officer of Akwatia constituency, declare Bernard Baidoo MP-Elect for Akwatia constituency.
That was the Electoral Commission's returning officer for the Akwatia by-election, declaring the results of that particular poll. The governing National Democratic Congress, NDC, has secured a supermajority in Parliament with a decisive victory in Akwatia. The party's candidate, Bernard Baidoo, won the hotly contested election with 18,199 votes, defeating the MPP Solomon Asumedu, who polled 15,235. Bernard Baidoo thanked supporters after his overwhelming victory.
I told you guys that we've been in this game for a while. If you are in it and you are losing, you will know, except maybe if you don't want to be honest to yourself. I told you what we were working out at that moment I spoke to was with regards to the gap. But as for the win, what are we witnessing? We've won. We are grateful for the opportunity the people of Akwatia has given us. It is a clear mandate, and we would not take it for granted. We will make sure we give them the best of representation and serve them well.
Supporters of the NDC's candidate hit the streets in jubilant mode after he was officially declared winner.
Now, lawyer, Kosia lawyer.
Papa.
Ocha muhuno.
Mihuno. Many judge nit ye Kosia gasa.
About one Equafampa. The manager bebre. Say I didn't kunim. Now, Radi Akan, one boy, Adiam Sunyano, Inya Anyajma.
Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC, Tanko Rashid Computer, had this to say after the win.
We told you that we are going to get 54%, more than that. That was projected. The projection was 53, but we finally got 54 plus. And you can look at the difference as projected. There's no difference between our own coalition and that of the EC coalition. The same, it came to the same, no difference. That tells you that we are on top of issues, and you saw what happened. We have worked for it. We have a credible candidate, and we have good message, and the people bought our message. And then so we are not surprised. People thought we were just binding figures around, but the figures actually shows that we worked according to the figures that was given.
The exercise was relatively peaceful, with pockets of misunderstandings recorded at some polling stations. The Ghana Police Service deployed more than 5,000 personnel to man the elections in Akwatia. The defeat leaves the MPP with 87 MPs, as opposed to the NDC's 184.
Well, the MPP, they've started some post-mortem exercise of assault. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, says the NDC's development promises and the road construction they undertook days before the election and general deception, as he described, is one of the reasons why the party lost the seat.
It played a big role because if you go through the constituency 2 days to the elections, and even on the day of elections, you could see the machines that we bought, the drip machines, were being used to make some of the roads, rollers, all of them, they were there. Some of them, the gravel was even lying on the streets for them to see that they are doing the work. And again, this is a government, like I said, had just come in. They are beginning their governance system, even though they have not done anything that has impacted on the life of the people. But the seat also played in. But what is good for us is that all the number of promises that they have made to them, we will check them and tick them. The people will get to know whether they will be honest and they will be truthful to themselves in terms of the development that they promised to provide them.
Well, you'll recall that the MPP raised series of concerns over security arrangement ahead of the election. Now, this is the party's verdict after the polls.
Biggest concern in yesterday's election was security, and the party took certain measures and also put certain proposals before the Ghana Police Service. And I must commend the Ghana Police Service for the professional conduct and in working to let us trust them. So in this particular election so far, the Ghana Police conducted themselves very well. I must commend the IGP for that.
Well, Joy News research shows over 2,600 individuals who voted in the 2024 Akwatia parliamentary election did not turn out to vote during the by-election yesterday. And here is our lead data and research analyst Isaac Kofi with the numbers.
Yesterday we were very, very heavy on turnout, and the reason why we are talking about that over 2,600 people who voted in the main election in 2024 but refused to turn out is because of the number we are seeing on the touch screen right now, where in the main election, you had 70% of the voters coming out to vote, but yesterday we only saw 64.6% coming out to vote. This is lower than what we saw in 2024, but way, way higher, or an improvement compared to what happened in Ablekuma North, where you had just about 56.3% of the registered voters coming out to vote. And so important figures that we need to put our focus on is the turnout. So in 2024, the main election, you had 36,472 registered voters coming out to vote. Yesterday, we saw just 33,819 turning out to vote. This for us is a very important number because if you look at the difference in terms of the margin of victory, the MPP won in the main election with 2,964. This is what they claim in terms of, this is yesterday, in terms of the 2025 one, and this was 2024. But it's interesting to also look at the trend so far And if you compare what the polls actually said versus what happened yesterday, this is what the Global Info Analytics was pointing out before, the main election or the by-election, that NDC's candidate was going to win by at least 53%, MPP 47%. Yesterday, this was the actual, and so you can see that the polls was actually within the margin of error that was given. By yesterday, we also put across that in Akwatia, that election, the by-election we saw yesterday, was going to be that tiebreaker, was because it was a 4-4 for both political parties. But that win yesterday sends the NDC ahead since 1996 to 5 wins in Akwatia compared to the MPP's 4. Now, many are asking, why did the NDC even win?
The question, what worked for them?
What worked for them is simply because we've looked at the numbers in terms of previous by-elections, and incumbent parties or governments have won 71% of by-elections in the country. So the probability of incumbent government winning is around 71%. And then also, we saw that the internal politics and also going on in the NPP actually affected them on the ground. The unity and all of that was a very, very big factor in there. But significantly, it was because of that number that says that, well, Akwatia, in terms of the key determinant, they really wanted development projects. And he asked herself, MPP and NDC, who is in government, who will be able to give you that development? It was clear that it was the ruling party that possibly could give them that development they need. And why?
So it is now 5-4 in favor of the MPP as far as the Akwatia parliamentary seat is concerned. And the person who moved it from 4 to 5, I'm proud to say that he is my guest on the show, the Member of Parliament elect for the Akwatia constituency in the Eastern Region, Baidoo, joins me via Zoom. Mr. Baidoo, congratulations and welcome to the program.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
So, how does it feel awaiting former swearing in by the Speaker of Parliament?
Well, it feels good. We went for election. As you all know, the people gave a clear mandate, and so far, you agree with me that nobody has been able to raise any suspicion of irregularity or any issues that would potentially mar the genuity of the results as churned out. And so this is one of the freest and fairest elections I've ever had, or I have ever seen. And so if you are elected on the basis of pure genuity of the love of the people, it only feels good. And it also gives that indication that you have the trust of the people. And so it's kind of a responsibility that you have to shoulder and make sure you don't disappoint the people. And so the work starts from the very first minute I was declared. You start thinking of how best you can, proceed to give the best of representation to the people as I promised. So it's a mixed feeling, good and challenged, a challenge that has been bestowed upon me. And I'm ready to take it up. It's good.
The concerns raised by the MPP, for example, they are raising concerns of the seats in the run-up to the elections regarding allegations of vote buying and overnight development projects that started in the constituency prior to the election itself. But generally, if you will sum up the conduct of the election itself from the role played by the Electoral Commission and the police, how will you describe how yesterday went?
It was very peaceful, very, very peaceful. But we are grateful to the security officers. We are also grateful to the Electoral Commission. In fact, we are grateful to the Electoral Commission for how they conducted themselves. The security were all over the place, but they didn't intimidate anybody. I never heard of anybody being molested or intimidated just because the security was present. They were there to make sure the right thing was done, and the right thing was done. The bigger congratulations also go to the populace, I mean, the constituents who saw need to conduct themselves in a way that or manner that would not, that would not call for the intervention of the security. And so generally it was good. We all played our part. The political leadership also knew that there was no need to bring any acrimony into these elections. And so we also behaved in a very mature manner, free of any, like I said, acrimony that would engulf the elections and would require the intervention of the security. So generally it was fair. The only thing we may want to improve upon is the turnout. We were looking at a bigger turnout, a turnout that we couldn't meet the target for 2024. But I think that the political elite is to blame. You see, why? And these are people who should know better. You have recordings of senior political figures on radio prior to the elections who were calling for mayhem and all that. I mean, if I work in, say, Kumasi, and I'm from Akwatia, and I happen to watch Joy News and hear a certain member of parliament, saying all kinds of things, as we all know. Akwatia, what will happen will happen. Why would I risk taking a car, come and vote only for Akwatia to burn, and I would not have the opportunity of going back to work?
But the police had presence there. The police had presence there to ward off any potential, violence.
No, I'm saying this was before. This was before. The police only came to the grounds. But I'm saying before the day, the people were all over the media. You know the people I'm talking about. Creating an impression. I'm sure you were even on the alert.
Right.
You were watching what will happen in Akwatia. Why would you do that? It's just an election. But the fear engulfed all of us. Hey, what is going to happen? And that is even the more reason the police were in their number. How? Akwatia constituency is not a big constituency. 5,000 police. Why? Are we going to war? But it had to be so. And I understand this because they should stand prepared for any unforeseen whatever. So why? It is all because the politicians were creating an atmosphere of chaos even long before the election. So people made up their minds not to even come. That is the challenge. But I think going forward, we should all learn our lessons. That you see, election is election. I kept saying that nothing will happen. I remember I spoke to one of the days.
Right.
That we are one people. Asumedu is my client. The MPP parliamentary candidate. He's been my client. He's been a brother. Why would I fight him?
So you contested your own client?
Oh, different political parties, so that you can understand. He's been a client professionally, but he belongs to the other side. But in my professional field, I serve all parties, and so I do everything for him. Legal issues, I do all those for him. So I said this just for you to know that we are one people. So I kept saying that it is those from outside who will come and create problems if there should be anything like that. But not those of us inside, we are one people.
So basically between you and Asumedu, there was no bad blood. It was just a friendly fire.
This morning we spoke and we laughed. We used to, even during the campaign. Sometimes he will call me and say, "Oh, lawyer, what you were on?" Then sometimes I also call Kwame and say, you see, we are we are brothers. There is nothing like bad blood at all. At all.
So in terms of how everything turned out, the votes difference between you and Asumedu, as announced by the Electoral Commission, was a little over 2,000. And clearly, everyone would admit that Akwatia is a swing constituency. The MPP until yesterday had won it 4 times. The NDC 4 times. Now you've moved it to 5. What worked the magic for you?
Okay, so this is it. We went into elections with different messages, and I think you can do your checks on that. The messages were simple. We went with the message of development. Now, we assured the people of development. 2 things I would always consider, and I think voters consider in electing a member of parliament, first and foremost is the representation aspect. One would want to have a representation which is worth it. And if you are a representative of the person, of the people, you would have to carry their cross, you have to carry their problems along and seek resolutions to it. If you have to carry their cross, carry their problems and seek solutions, you should be a good advocate. A good advocate is a good lobbyist. And so between myself and my brother, the verdict was out there. We all had the opportunity of meeting with the constituents and for them to choose between the two of us who is the better advocate and a potential good lobbyist. So
Right.
they chose. That's one. The other issue is this. Beyond everything, there is also the aspect of connection.
Right.
That you may be a good advocate, you may be good, you may be a fluent speaker, you may be a good lobbyist, but you should also have the connection. Else you may talk the whole day but never get anything done. So the connection is where the government of the day comes in. This is my government. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is in my party. The number of MPs, cabinet ministers are MPs who would be in my caucus when elected. So it is easier to get things done through that angle than go for an opposition MP who would not also have the connection. So these two messages were put to them. That is our message. DS was about 85% or even 90%, all about sympathy. Your cameras were around. Why would you even do a poster and put our late brother's picture behind the image as though he's your running mate? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But, well, this was their campaign strategy. 90% about sympathy. So the people didn't hear what they wanted to hear. Because, you see, we were late in getting into the campaign mood because of the tragedy. You know, we went for conference and I got elected, from the primaries. They didn't. They selected. So they were out there campaigning even before we went for the primaries. Beyond the primaries, we got hit by the tragedy, and that made it difficult or impossible for us to campaign at that early stage. But so essentially, we got in later, and they were all over initially. But when we got in, we were able to catch the eyes of the people because we were telling them things they wanted to hear, not just things they wanted to hear, but these were reasonable things that they were expecting to hear.
So one of your main...
You see, you were talking about the fact that they should empathize with the party because they've lost an MP. They said, no, that's not enough. So that's what worked for us, is the message. So
for you, one of the main selling points was the fact that your government is in power, so voting for you was going to guarantee them development. Indeed, even before voting got underway, you showed them evidence of what you intend to do in terms of constructing their roads. And some say that it was just to buy their votes.
No, not at all. Let me say this before giving you the background to that. As we speak, even today, I'm driving. You've heard a truck drive past my car. They are still constructing the road. We are done with the elections. They are still doing it. You can ask your cameras. I granted an interview. I'm not too sure if your cameras are still.
In fact, we have done a news report that says that construction is still ongoing.
It's ongoing, so it wasn't meant for elections.
But it started before the elections.
Let me give you the background. That would help. This is what happened. On 2 weeks ago, Sunday, His Excellency, the President wasn't in town. He tasked the government, he tasked the Chief of Staff to come to Wenchi to introduce me to the Osiewu, the overlord of the area, the head of the chiefs in the Akwatia community. Now, when we went together with some other ministers and all that, during the so all the chiefs in the area were there. They prayed the Chief of Staff to come to their aid with some projects. The Chief of Staff heard them and asked that, okay, the President is not around. I was only sent. So if you could have representatives to meet with the presidency on a day, I think 2 days after that day, that was on Tuesday, and that I should bring them to the Jubilee House for a discussion with regards to their demands.
Right.
We went as planned, and we met with the vice president, who was the acting president. And the chief demanded that some immediate interventions happen in their communities, with regardless of whether there is by-election or not. And as a certain government who sees the chiefs as partners of development, had to oblige and said, okay, we can't do much because of the time. But if there are simple things we can do with regards to your town roads, which is less than 1 kilometer and then all that, we can look at it and see. But we do not want it to appear as though it is by-election. They said, no, we are requesting for it. Mm-hmm. They had even, look, if I was in your studio, I will show you a copy of the demand. They had to put them in writing, and they submitted copies to the presidency. I have the copy. So the demand came from the chiefs. And then the government had no option than to do that is why the chiefs are not complaining. You could take your cameras to any of the chiefs and they will tell you that it came from them. So the plan, it is not for, so it was not be NDC and PP as usual.
All right, so it wasn't originally a government plan to construct the road. It was a request by the chiefs. So coincidentally, yes, it happened at the time by-election was in the offing.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But that played to your advantage, isn't it?
Well, it does, because you see, the only reason I see it to be so is this. Look, I am telling the people that I'm a good advocate. I will give them the best of representation. I am also telling them that I'm a good lobbyist. So if the chiefs have been able to demand something and I lobby for the thing to come, it means I'm actually showing what do you call it?
Showing proof that you can do that.
Show me. Sorry?
Showing proof that you can actually do that.
Absolutely. And that is what happened. And I did it. And I'm proud to say that I actually pushed for same to happen. Look, by-election, so what? Excuse me. At the end of the day, the people need the development. Indeed, as the by-election, we are done with it. Does it mean the roads, we will take them back and take them to the Jubilee House? It will be there to serve the people. At the end of the day, President Mahama keeps working, and he should work irrespective of the time. All these people who are complaining, if they had other things to do on the day of by-election or a day before, they would have done it. There is nothing wrong with doing anything. It would only be deceptive if it were meant for the by-election, and after the by-election, we carry the machines away. But if work is ongoing, what is wrong with that?
Is it a case that, the chief made similar requests in the past, and the request did not yield the result we are seeing now, or they just came to a realization that there's a time we can get this done?
I am not too sure whether a chief of staff ever visited the president the way it is or the way it happened. I'm not too sure whether the president in the past visited the chief. I don't work with the chiefs. But you see, I know that in this case, maybe the chiefs were also taking advantage of the situation. Maybe. I'm not too sure. But even if they did, it's the prudent thing to do.
Right.
That, see, you are here to ask for votes for your candidate. We will help him, but we also have needs. So the circumstances may not be the same. But you see, what is so clear is that over the last 8 years, nothing really happened in the constituency. You see, this election, trust me, it is a reflection of the mandate of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and then the MPP for the 8 years. It is really, because of course, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, just came to power. So if he's not been able to do much, but touched on a road which is not even up to 1 kilometer, and the people are so excited, that should tell you how hungry they have been with regards to development. So whom do you blame? You had 8 years. The people, for instance, Kusi, have been so faithful to you. They vote 70-30 against my party. Over the years, since the Fourth Republic, they've not benefited a single good initiative from you. So if for 6 months, assuming it's even by election, and I'm able to lobby for the government to do this for them, and they are so excited such that even when you brought Dr. Baumia from Accra straight to Kusi, because you saw the place had turned to green, straight to Kusi to tell the chiefs that it is not Mahama government that is doing the road. The people said, we've heard you. We are too smart for these games. We will still vote for him. And for the first time in the Fourth Republic, Kusi turned green. And now you are saying it's because we did. You had 8 years. Why didn't you do it?
So this
Why
road,
are you crying wolf? You had 8 years. Why didn't you do it for them?
So the road will be tarred as well.
My brother, it has even been tarred. Trust me. The chippings are on, and I will make sure that is done because that's what I know. The contract has been given. You can call the roads minister. In fact, it was the deputy roads minister who brought the contractor to the chief. And I'm surprised they are talking about drip machine. This is not drip machine. Do they know drip machine? The contractor is on site. I don't have his permission to mention on air, but you can do your checks. It is a contractor that is working on it. He's been tasked to tar those roads. And there are even others. Look, if we were in to deceive, there is the Buadria to Premaya Penamai stretch that had also been approved to be fixed. That had been done. But you see, the roads minister said, no, we are not in to deceive the people. We can't finish that one. It's a major road. Right. So don't start. And as I speak to you, we didn't touch it, but it's part of the roads that has been given to that contractor. Once he is done with Takrasi Kusi, and then there is the Kwame Kuma stretch in Akwatia, he will go to the Topremai. He will go to the Topremai stretch.
In fact, the introduction of drip into the conversation was actually first, said by the NDC Deputy Director of Election, Rashid Tanko, that they were using the drip machine. But you have brought clarity to this matter.
No, so let me explain. There are different sections. For instance, there is a community called Amako. That community, you can't drive there. It is not possible. In fact, even during campaign, I took Abubu out to the place. You saw Yamin and my organizer, and then you saw Monday Mustafa, the Deputy General Secretary, etc. Abubu. That's where they went to. I was there. In fact, coincidentally, the day I went to campaign, my brother was also there. He took a motorbike, and I took Abubuya. This is a town that voted for them last election.
Right.
They did nothing for them. But you see, we went and he donated 5,000 to them to buy fuel and go for a machine. Immediately it was, and I promised the people, I said, no, this is not a matter of paying 5,000. I would speak to the authorities that be, so that immediately I leave the place. The drip machine, which is at the assembly, we will make sure it comes to fix the road, at least. Given the nature of the season, you can't do much because it's a wet season. But at least there are some places they can do some patching and those things. So the drip machines will be used. So these are the smaller communities whose roads were so bad. And so those ones, we use the drip machines. And that's the drip machines were brought to work. So should we leave them because it's by election when the people need it? I don't really understand. So those ones, but the major contract, Kusi Takrasi, those ones, Kusi Takrasi Akwatia, Dabnamai, Topremai Road, were given to contractors. But the drip machines did some work in the small towns as well.
Apart from the roads, what are the other challenges that you think that Akwatia is lagging behind, that you will use your influence now as Member of Parliament to push for a turnaround?
Well, so the major issue is with jobs. Most of our youth are unemployed, and it's because the Akwatia is known for mining,
right?
And the GCD over the last years, several years before John Dramani Mahama came to power, has been, almost grounded. But you see, even towards in the run-up to the 2024 elections, they were even in darkness. And GCD is a whole community. There are about 5 different towns within that enclave. So they were all in darkness. The previous government thought...
No electricity supply?
No electricity in Akwatia, I'm telling you.
Despite all the mineral resources there?
I am telling you, they were without electricity. They had been cut from the national grid, disconnected. President Mahama, at the time, as candidate, Mahama came to Akwatia, and we told him that this is the situation. So you see, when you lose election, go down and find out why you lost. And stop. You see, if the people of GCD now voted the way they did, whom do you blame? In your government, they were in darkness. John Mahama came, and then the first month, even when he didn't have ministers, some of us, went to him, and then we told him that this is the problem, His Excellency. He had made the promise that he would restore it. So we went to remind him, and he instructed that it be done. We had to fix different lines because the old lines, what happened was that the communities were connected to the company. So once the companies, and they were taking power from the company. So once the company is grounded and has been disconnected, it definitely affected the communities. So the government took a decision to now, because GCD may not be working now, but the community should survive. So we had to disconnect and put new lines all through. It took 3 months, day and night. They worked, and that was way before the by-election. Nobody even knew anybody would pass. We did that and got them connected. So if there is a by-election subsequently, what do you think the people will do? Chief, this is it. You can do your checks. So if you are going into an election, you should find out what the people want. It's not about sympathy. The people are in darkness. You are telling them their MP is late, so they should give it to a party person. Why didn't you give the candidature to the wife or his brother? Do you relate to the candidate? So why are you making the people feel as if they don't even know or understand what they want? So you see, as for this issue of development happened, I mean, the night before, and then what didn't they do in Asin, what do you call it? Asin
North.
North. But we didn't do it. If we wanted to deceive the people, we would have seen the machines all over. But that's not what happened. What the chiefs requested, even that, we didn't provide for all the requests they did. They said, at least that's for this one. Do it for us before we go. And we tried to find the middle ground. And then we went there to do some little things to help. And there is nothing wrong with that. For me, there is nothing wrong with that.
In the absence of job, I mean, some of the youth are involved in mining. I mean, to put it bluntly, illegal mining. I mean, what would be your proposed solution in this particular regard?
Okay, so thank you. So as I've said, they don't have jobs. I personally, I'm a lawyer and I understand this better. As for mining, we cannot stop mining in Akwatia. That should be made clear because that's what makes Akwatia what it is. But we will not do illegal mining, and that is what we should fight to make sure that people will do the mining, but in a legal way, in a very lawful way, sorry. So I have said that, look, this issue of bringing people together and giving them concessions regulated and under a certain scheme should be brought back. Because you see, GCD used to do something they call the tributor system. My dad has been a tributor.
Right.
So the tributor system, the GCD gives you the land under their tutelage, you mine under their rules, so you don't do illegal mining. That's what has happened over the decades. And so you didn't hear of Galamsey until GCD was grounded. I'm saying we should go back to it. Let us have them in groups, give them the concession, give them the rules. Maybe the government, we may even have a pool of equipment, and then we give them those equipment so they can work with. Once you give them the equipment, they would be able to use it in accordance with your laid down procedure. So they can't do anything illegal. These are the things I want to suggest to the government, and I've started doing that. Beyond that, even GCD, I have suggested that GCD, we could have a part of GCD turn to a mining training school, not a university.
Okay.
Some of the chiefs, when we went to the Jubilee House, proposed a university of mines, a campus of University of Mines in Akwatia. I said, well, I think that's good. But I suggested that, look, instead of a university, because you see, if you propose a university, it should go in accordance with the university rules, the tertiary education, whatever. If you don't have passes, you can't go to that school. But the people who are doing Galamsey are not people who have those passes. Right. And you want to train them. So you rather have a school for mining, practical training, rather than a university where you go for degrees, which the people do not have the prerequisite qualification to enter. So you will not be solving the problem of illegal mining. But if you want to train the people, train them in a school, a mining school. So we may turn GCD, a part of GCD, because the infrastructure is there, to a mining school. So even if you've never been to the classroom, you can still come to this a mining school to be trained on how to mine, how to use certain equipment. And once you do that, you'll be able to regulate that industry. Because you see, you keep arresting, but yet people must eat.
Right.
People must survive.
Right.
You keep arresting. And at the end of the day, if we are not careful, we may find all our youth in prison. You see, so for me, it is not, in the meantime, yes, it's an illegal business to mine with our license and all that. I agree. So we may do that, but in the medium to long term, that is not the solution. Let us find, because we have to mine. These minerals are given to us by God.
In fact, we have a gold board. If you don't mind, how would you be able to, fend for gold board? But in a regulated environment where we will not destroy the environment, and then we will be able to. So this is the kind of advocacy I want to put up.
But Council, until that is done, until we get to actualizing this proposal that you have, the destruction of the environment is ongoing. So what do we do?
Of course, the law is clear. If you are destroying the environment, the law is there, and the law is being used. So that I can't say much about, and it remains the law. But I'm saying in the mid, because I have been elected, I should have proposals that would help
your constituents
bring a win-win situation, and that proposal is what I'm telling you. Otherwise, if that, so then the law is the law. I mean, what can I do about it? If you are destroying the environment such that you don't have license and you are mining, that's an illegality, and the law is the law. That there is nothing I can do. But I'm saying that if we keep arresting and because you see, you arrest, you take them there, they come back, they do it because they need to serve, they don't have jobs, and the minerals are there. Why can't we regulate for them to do it properly? That's my proposal. And in fact, I should have a proposal as an MP. I should have a vision, and I've shared my vision with you. I don't know, but your viewers are out there to judge whether it's a good one or not. For me, I think that it should be a win-win situation. The people should do. We've done it before. When does this issue of Galamsey come? But Akwatia have mined since 1926. But this issue of Galamsey came up recently. Galamsey. That means we were doing something right before, and now it's not happening. Why don't we look at what we were doing right? Because that tributary system was a perfect one. Because the GCD will regulate, they would have their security following you. You can't go and dig, or you can't go and dig a hole and leave it and run away with it. In fact, they are there. They will make sure you reclaim the land, because the concession belongs to them. And they've given the various units to individuals under their tutelage. And for me, that's it. That's it. Okay. And so Akwatia was vibrant then. And this is where we should go again.
In wrapping up, the MPP in a statement that they issued before I came on air, they are making the call for the arrest of your vice chairperson, Alhaji Sofu Azoka, and one Wahab, for threatening the lives of the minority leader, the chief whip on the minority side, Frank Anadomprem, and of course the MPP's national organizer, Henry Nana Boakye. What do you say to this?
I'm not aware of any threat of life on the minority leaders. Like
you didn't hear anything like that.
You see, when you lose election, I know it's difficult for them. They have to find a way to say something. I mean, to divert attention as though something untoward happened in Akwatia. Look, this was a minority leader under whose watch, with some men and the general secretary who were. You saw the video. I'm sure you've seen it, or you may ask, because your people even interviewed me on it, and I said I don't have that time. Whatever they may have done, be it illegality, I believe that at the appropriate time. So at the time, my focus was on the election. But they were in the morning. They let people defacing my posters. Is that not? It's even a crime to be doing that. It's an illegality, but they did it. But I haven't mentioned it. My party has not released any statement because our eyes were on the ball. We are not interested in pettiness. I mean, I do not know who threatened who. If somebody threatened him and he has evidence, he's a senior lawyer. He knows what to do. My focus is on Akwatia and how to develop Akwatia, my brother.
And then finally, your roots are quite strong in the constituency. I mean, people we spoke to before and during the election points to the fact that you assisted a lot of people with legal services. Now that you're going to have your hands full in Parliament, would they still have that access to you as far as legal matters are concerned? Because that was a major issue all of them raised regarding you.
Well, I'm grateful for this question. I'm sure it is about the mindset. Look, if, as you rightly heard, if I want to assist, I need not be physically present. I have a number of friends who are prepared to help. And so once there is any issue, in fact, just yesterday, something happened and I wasn't physically present. I called a friend who is a lawyer who was present, and he intervened at no fee because he is part of me. I have a firm
together with my friends who are operating. I may not be able to go to court anymore for now, but they remain there and they understand what we do as a group. And so anytime anyone needs legal services, we will get a lawyer to help. That is not a problem at all. And in fact, it's part of my assurance to the people that legal services, I mean, that you can always count on me on. If I'm not physically present, I will get you someone to do it.
All right. And then your people in Akwatia are listening. What will be your final words to them?
Well, I can only say I'm grateful for the honor done me. Very, very grateful. They are the people I love, and that is why I offered myself to make this happen. I will forever hold this honor in a sacred way and manner that would serve and I'll make sure I serve the people in all humility, hard work, dedication, and above all, with the fear of God. I'm so grateful to them. I can assure them that we are in for good things. Akwatia would rise again. I'm grateful to you too for the opportunity. We look forward to meeting with you anytime there is any issue that we need to discuss with regards to Akwatia.
Right.
Akwatia, I'm grateful.
All right. The Member of Parliament elect for Akwatia in the Eastern Region, Baidoo, there here on the pause. Your comments are welcome as well.